Fellow panelists, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, and friends and colleagues around the world. Welcome to the International Forum on Digital and Democracy. The Institute for Policy, Advocacy and Governance, IPAG, is pleased to be hosting this session on a topic which I personally believe is quite important. The topic is technology fueled misinformation in an era of polarization, tackling misleading web content. Now, we live in rather amazing times. At the very advent of 21st century, we have seen explosion of social media platform from Facebook to MySpace. Today, as we speak, November 2022, the number of people on social media platform is nearing 5 billion, more than half of the global population. As it happens with opportunity, there's always accompanying risks. But think about the pandemic. How we would have survived this onslaught in absence of the online media platforms? Whether it was taking vaccine or online shopping, we were completely on online platforms. But this has become part of our life. That's inevitable and that's part of our life. But what also is equally true, unfortunately, even as we speak, more than 80% of the world's population is exposed to fake news. Survey after survey have shown more than 50% of the netizens or citizens of the network are wary that they're being led into wrong information. And I can give you plenty and plethora of examples. And how much dependent we have become on social media platforms. Whether it's breaking the news of a newborn coming into someone's family or someone's loved one passing away or breaking news like a war, famine. These days we rely more on social media platform and the millennials, they're more glued to social media platform-based news as opposed to traditional channels like BBC and CNN and so on and so forth. So this is part of our life. Now, if you look at some of the incident which has been happening, if you remember, in one of those incidents, Cambridge Analytica, a UK-based consulting firm, did end up in a Facebook profile tampering, which apparently led to guiding voters in a particular direction during Britain's referendum on Brexit. During last US election, we have had a lot of issues, and in one such instance, about 100 pages remained undetected by Facebook's algorithm, and which had a view of more than 10 billion views. So these are having serious repercussions across the political spectrum, social spectrum, so on and so forth. Now, what do we do about it? Now, on one end, digital platform is here to stay, and as I mentioned in the initial remarks, it forms part of our life. But what also remains very important that we, as a level of individual, society, nation, behave responsibly, and we have seen some countries taking initiative like Germany, Singapore have taken laws whereby any misleading wrong information in the social media platform are severely penalized, and we have seen other countries follow suit. But we also have to be aware, even as digital platform rises, there's a huge digital divide prevailing in the world. Even as we speak, about 2 billion people do not have mobile phones. 3 billion people don't have internet access. So people who are left out in this game, not being able to access online goods and services, there's an inherent insecurity which drives into a lot of behavior and makes them vulnerable to wrong information. Even during pandemic, in the very initial phase, about 6,000 to 7,000 people got admitted to hospital based on wrong information. And out of that, almost 700 to 800 died. So we are talking about serious business here. And we have seen many suicides, teenage, young boys and girls taking out their own lives just based on wrong information. So this is something serious and here to stay. Now, widening the window. At the political level, what's happening? We have seen a rise of populism. Whether it's a developed North American country like US, we have seen a rise of populist leader like Donald Trump. Whether it's a country like Turkey in the middle of Europe and Asia, Erdogan, then the largest democracy in the world, Narendra Modi. So these leaders just have their own following. In many, many instances, we have seen the political discourse have been seriously shaped, influenced sometimes by wrong information. So, and we have seen in many instances, people have been led wrongly into believing things which are not true. So that's where this polarization issue comes. How this whole wrong information is splitting the world down in the middle for wrong reasons. There's nothing wrong in having different political differences. Democracy thrives in differences. But what is wrong is when lies spread faster than truth. When lies step into our ecosystem and makes us believe into something which is not true. Wrong information, wrong belief leads to wrong decision. That is what this session is about. How do we tackle this wrong information leading to wrong perception, leading to wrong decisions? Having said that, the crisis we are facing is something, as I said in the initially, has to be faced globally. Even as we speak today, a few days back, 20 of the powerful economies of the world, the G20 community, have met in Bali. And these are the platforms for which the political leadership at the highest level need to frame rules and rules of engagement in the digital platform. And we have seen, instead of that, we are having more cracks. For example, we have had complaints of electoral tampering by countries like Australia and Canada against China. We have had complaints against Russia made by US. So it has to start at the top, where nations first agree to rules of engagement, how they engage in the social media platform. Then it has to trickle down below at a societal level, when individuals are responsible in terms of what they share, what they don't share, what they say, what they don't say. So I, having had the privilege of being co-chair of two task forces on digital transformation of the G20 group, had the opportunity to have a closer look what is happening in the global landscape. And we need more collective action, more coherent policy from the governmental level. And G20 is a good platform whereby 20 biggest economies of the world who are driving digital transformation can come together and set some rules for others to learn from and to follow. And, uh, and also in the developing global south, there is a lot of responsibility. 50% of the largest tech companies are based in Asia, and four of the fastest growing innovation hubs are in cities like Jakarta, Wuhan, Yangon, and Hyderabad. So, what I'm trying to say, this responsibility is not to say that only developed democracies have to take the onus on their shoulder. It's as much falls into developing countries as well. So, this whole north south and this whole spectrum of collaboration has to move beyond the economic dynamics, has to move beyond the political differences, and there has to be rules of engagement, because everybody has to prosper in the social media platform, and unless we can come together, we'll collapse together. And the whole issue of polarization comes across not only the political spectrum, on a more technological level, social level, individual level, there has to be greater coherence. And if we have to tackle this misleading web content, the collective responsibility has to come at every level. So I'm very pleased that this gives us a unique opportunity, and I'm sure my fellow panelists, when they share their insights, and we have two more keynote speakers, will give us a more deep dive into many of the issues. As a keynote speaker, I hope I've been able to lay out the bigger picture, so the discussion that follow will help us take a deep dive into some of the issues, economic, social, technological, that will drive forward digital transformation and bridging the digital divide in the coming days. And one thing we have to remember, millennials who have grown up in this whole social media ecosystem are the future researchers, analysts, political leaders, so on and so forth. So we have to drive fast forward. And we are dealing with a generation, in many instances, whose attention span is maximum 8 seconds or less than a jellyfish. So in that attention span, we are struggling with too much information. So the information that filtered has to be reliable, has to be genuine, has to be valid. And onus is on all of us. With that note of optimism, I once again welcome you to this session, and I wish success to this whole endeavors. And hopefully, end of this uh, forum, we shall be able to come up with some collective recommendations and help our leaders and also other stakeholders, tech companies, civil society, academia, to come together in common drive to make the social media and digital platform safe, secure, which inspires unleashing creative energies. Thank you so much.